Hello everyone, this is Shark in a Jar from the lightsaber community. I am going over a short tutorial on how to use the app for Pixel V4 or SN-Pixel V4. So once you download the app through the QR code that they'll give you, you have 5 different buttons at the bottom. Right now my saber is dead and I don't really want to be messing with it in hand while I'm showing you guys all through the app. But essentially, everything that you'll see at the top of the screen is what will be happening on the saber itself, minus a couple small little differences such as like what lights up exactly where when you hit the clash button. First off, you're going to go to the Bluetooth. There will be an option to scan. You're going to scan. If you have your saber nearby, it'll then pop up to where it'll show you can bind or unbind the lightsaber. And once you hit bind, you hit OK, and then the saber, after a few seconds, will then go connected, and it'll show it as bound here. Now, the other buttons. Next up is the more. You're going to want to kind of ignore this menu. The only thing you really care about is the about one, where you might be able to check the saber for a firmware upgrade, but as of yet, I've not been able to get it working. Or if there's not even been a firmware update, I don't know. So, still pending on that one. Next up is the control. So, while my saber is not connected, you won't be able to hear anything, and I can't forward it to the saber itself. You can at least see what's going on. I'll get more into the forwarding later. So you have all the different effects. You can show, lock up. You can do the drag effects, blaster, volume. You can change the different light effects or the ignition effects and the pre-off effects. And while you're connected to the saber itself, you'll have a lot more options for what you can choose from. Obviously, right now, I don't have a saber connected. So, and the palette button, you can change the color and set parameters. You can set things like the length of the blade, the clash sensitivity, twist, swing. You can turn on and off specific things. There's not too many options yet, but I'm sure that they'll be adding more as time goes on because this is pretty fresh and new, so they're still updating it with newer tech. So, then you have your other two buttons, new and local. When you create something on new, it'll then be stored on local, so you don't really care about local just yet. Now let's go to new. Here's where things get really funky. So you have a bunch of these different options that you can adjust and change. So for instance, let's do hum. You have 4 buttons here. You have add, save, play, and send. Add will add a new effect. Save will save it so it'll be stored under local. Play will play it on the app, and the one that looks like you're throwing a paper airplane, that'll send it to the saber. So what you're seeing on top will then actually just be displayed on the lightsaber. So let's go to add new. So for instance, this one, let's change it to a green. Let's just have a green regular light. All right, now we have that. So we hit play or save and then play, and then it will be showing up on top on the screen. And you can hit send, and it will send to the saber, and your saber will now be green if it's connected. Now here's where things get fun and wacky. You can add multiple different ones. For instance, let's have this one be red. So you have the delay time and the time the length that it goes. You have the position and you have the length. You generally want to keep the position at least at 0. There's no reason to go under that. I think it doesn't really do anything. But when you play with going over 0 and you play with the length, you can do some really funny things. So for instance, if I go to position 50, and I set the length to 50, and I hit play, I now have a saber that is green on bottom and red on top for half of it. So you can add as many as you want and do multiple colors and things like that. And you can do this for every single thing. So you can even change the swings, you can change, the pre-on and pre-off effects. Generally, be careful though, because it will overwrite what's default on your lightsaber. So if you do this, make sure you're always creating a backup first on your computer with the SD card before you even start messing with anything. Now here's where it gets really fun. You hit the plus, you have different animation options. So for instance, let's change this to a fire effect, and now let's hit play. So now we have this happening at the top. And now let's add a flame rainbow effect and send that. So now it's doing some really weird combos and stuff. So you can really just mess with it, and you can adjust it and change it. And then once you send it to your saber, that's what your saber is going to be doing from then on. So you can really do some really wacky stuff with it. And again, you can do that for every single option on here and change how it functions. So for instance, you can do some wacky stuff like the swing, where you can have it let's say instead of having infinite, let's have this last like 1 second. And let's have it be in the position 50 and length of 50. And now when we swing it, it'll be red at the top for 1 second. And then what we can do is we can add a new one. So let's have it be at delay at 1 second. And let's have it last 1 second. And now let's put it position 0 and 50. And let's make it blue. So now when we play it, it does some really funny stuff. And then we can send it to the saber, and then the saber itself will then do it whenever we swing. But again, be careful with it because it does get kind of messy on sometimes. But yeah, so that's kind of how it works. So you can change all the different effects. You can do some wacky stuff. You can change how it looks. So if you hit the plus underneath on the actual swing that you've created, you can then change all the different effects and, you know, do a lot of things like that. So there you guys go. That's kind of how this all works. It's pretty fun and wacky, and I quite enjoy it. So catch you guys around. Hope this helps. Bye.